Right now at 5, Joplin firefighters respond to an early morning house fire.
And we've got an alert day today. Winter weather alerts across the entire area. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door. Coming up.
Plus, the new year brings a rise in respiratory illnesses. We'll take a look at the impact on our area.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Thursday, January the 9th, and we have a lot to talk about. One thing we do want to mention, we will not be here at 6 a.m. For coverage of Jimmy Carter, but we are here from now until 6 a.m., and we've got a lot to cram into just 1 hour. You know, it's 3 hours seems like a long time, then when you've got a lot to talk about, it's not enough time. We do have an alert day today because it is going to snow. And I know a lot of you are probably wondering how much snow. We're going to get into all those details in a moment. But first, as we traditionally do, let's look outside. And right now, you want to kind of take a picture. This is how things look as they stand now. And 24 hours from now, they will not look like this at all as snow starts to roll in. Of course, that's our camera downtown Pittsburgh. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline. Again, looking good so far this morning. Still a bit on the cold side today, or at least this morning. It'll be a slightly warmer today, and that's the really bizarre thing, is that it's actually going to be a little warmer today than where we have been, yet this is our best chance for more snowfall. We have winter weather advisories for across nearly the entire area. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is where it gets a little difficult as well. We've talked about the fact there are 5 different weather offices that cover us. There are 5 different winter weather advisories that are actually out, and they have varying start and expiration times. And it's all based on the snowfall, which will roll from west to east across the area. Now, the winter storm warnings, yesterday were not this close. Now they are into McDonald, Berry, and Benton counties in the southern part of our area, where this is where the heavier snow could be out there. That low, remember we talked about, it had like a 5% chance of tracking a little further north. It took that 5% chance, and it's tracked a little further north. So what are we looking at? By noon, it's going to start moving in, barely getting into our area, but by noon, it starts pushing into our area out here. And as we go into the afternoon, say when kids are getting out of school, that's where we're going to start to see a few problems, as we're going to see that snow picking up across the area. And then for points east, we're going to see that snow across the entire region, so evening commutes are going to be impacted as well. Once this snow starts, it will not stop for quite some time. And we're not expecting major accumulations, but we're talking, remember that line we drew from Nevada to Parsons to Independence? So northwest of that, about 1 to 3 inches. From that line to about the I-44 corridor, we're going to go about 2 to 4 inches. And then south of that point, hence the winter storm warnings, that's where we get into the 4 to 6 inch range. 21 in Joplin right now, 18 in Pittsburgh. Across the area, again, temperatures pretty chilly, but better than they were yesterday. We've got upper teens and low 20s. We have that south wind, though, so that's put our wind chills back. Iola, for example, feels like it's 7. Most of us wind chills into the teens. Now, those south winds are light and variable for right now, about 5 to 10 miles an hour. So kids getting on the bus, mostly clear, 21. And then the snow picks up, and so do the winds. They'll start gusting upwards of 20 to 25 miles an hour out of the south. 34 when that bus comes home. So that's what we talked about yesterday as well. Blowing snow is a bit of a concern. Because we'll get those occasional wind gusts, which could lead to reduced visibilities at times. Mostly cloudy through the morning, highs today right around the mid-30s, and snow chances increasing as we head into the afternoon and evening. We're going to break down those snow totals and the timing of this system and what happens when it's gone in the full forecast. That's coming up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Authorities are investigating an early morning house fire in Joplin. Crews responded to the Blenville neighborhood on Wall Street just after 4:45. They found smoke and flames coming from the roof of a home under remodel. The fire had caused the roof to collapse. No one was living there. No word on the cause of the fire. Well, now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps, as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Well, Freeman Health System announces it's making progress on the Freeman Fort Scott Hospital that was proposed back in June. The 10-bed general medical unit and 24-hour emergency department will operate within the city's former hospital site. The planning for renovations and the design phase have been completed. The renderings have been submitted to state officials, and once approved, renovations will begin. Freeman Health System says they're optimistic the facility will open in the spring. The Parsons, Kansas Police Department is hopeful its new domestic violence unit will help reverse a troubling trend. The city opened the unit in September in response to rising numbers of domestic violence reports, both in the city and statewide. Now, in 2021, Parsons had 146 reports of domestic violence. The number increased to 203 in 2023. In 2024, the PD responded to 149 reports. The Parsons DVU is funded by a 2-year federal grant and operates from an undisclosed location away from the police headquarters. And depending where you live, you probably did not hear a storm siren yesterday morning. Despite being the day of the month, the sirens are usually tested. Emergency management officials say because of the below freezing temperatures, running the test now could cause damage to the equipment.
If there's any type of moisture in a siren and that might be frozen, we don't want to take a chance of damaging a siren for the test. Now, if it was a real event and it's 10 degrees outside, we're going to set them off no matter what.
Now, to avoid any false alarms, the sirens will be tested again next month. If they can't test them for 3 months in a row, they'll do a silent test of the systems instead. And as we move deeper into the winter months, respiratory viruses are on the rise. Freeman Hospital in Joplin reports that cases of flu and RSV are currently in the double digits, and experts warn that these numbers will likely continue to climb if we don't take precautions. Meanwhile, norovirus is a highly contagious virus causing vomiting and diarrhea remains a concern, though it's still in the single digits for now. ER doctors urge the public to stay vigilant, and regular hand washing and social distancing when you're feeling sick are key to keeping these illnesses at bay.
Wear masks because wearing a mask is important to prevent spread of the infection. Washing hands with water and soap is the most important thing. A lot of people actually forget about washing hands, and they rely heavily on hand sanitizers. Unfortunately, hand sanitizers are not enough.
Mercy Hospital in Joplin also says although there is no cure, it's important to stay hydrated and while the virus will run its course. Another Southwest Missouri school district is changing its cell phone policy starting this week. Fair Grove students from 6th grade through high school are required to lock their phone in a yonder pouch when they get to school in the morning. District leaders decided to make the move to eliminate phone-related distractions from the classroom and prevent cyberbullying and the exchange of inappropriate materials. Fair Grove Superintendent Christian Overstreet says the yonder pouches take the enforcement responsibility out of the teacher's hands.
The phone slides into the pouch, earbuds and smartwatches also go in. There's plenty of room, and you just lock it shut. It's locked, you place it right there, hit the black button, and there you go.
At the end of the day, special magnets mounted in various places around the school allow students to open the pouches and remove their device. Other schools are joining the cell phone ban. Pittsburgh USD 250 began its new no cell phone during class policy on Tuesday. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Well, Pitt State football announces who they will play in this year's home opener. We'll have the details. Plus, visitors from around the world will now need to apply and pay a fee to visit the United Kingdom. And we're tracking snow chances for today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, signing day periods from across the 4 states start to emerge as a pair of high school athletes from Girard put pen to paper to officially compete at the next level. Yesterday afternoon at Girard High School, Natalia O'Neilio signed to continue her athletic career at Fort Hays State, where she will be one of the newest members of the track and field team. Likewise, Siler Salmons is also signing to play at the collegiate level, except Siler is playing baseball at Central Christian College in McPherson, Kansas.
I want to get my degree. I'm going into business, so that'll be cool. Maybe get some internships. If I play on in baseball, that's also a dream, but I'm really focused on the school in part.
And the campus is very pretty, very nice, and so I'm just kind of excited to be there. And I really like the facilities over there, so that'll be fun. And it's also kind of nice because it felt very homey because, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but all the roads are they run a lot of mile sections. It's kind of what I run here, so I'm very excited for that just because it kind of feels like home.
Well, you can start to mark your calendars for the Pitt State football season. The Pittsburgh State Athletic Program announced who their opponent will be for the 2025 home opener at Kearney Smith Stadium. This fall, Pitt State football will face Grand Valley State on September 13th for the Gorillas' home opener. Division II powerhouses agreed to a one-year contract to play each other in the 2025 football season. Two teams will meet for the second time in program history. The Gorillas previously played Grand Valley State in the NCAA Division II playoffs back in November of 2023. Well, still to come, the Mediterranean diet has been ranked the healthiest diet for the 8th year in a row. And snow is on the way. Starts rolling in this afternoon. Another look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:16 now on this Thursday, alert day in the 4 states, and this is why. We've got winter weather advisories across the majority of the area, and we have winter storm warnings that have now encroached into our southern counties for the snow potential as we head into the afternoon hours today. Did mention, and I'll mention again, we have 5 weather service offices that cover us. Each of these winter weather advisories, there's 5 different ones that are out. In fact, even the winter storm warnings are from 2 separate offices, so they all have different expiration times, but the latest are mainly in this section on the east side, and they run through 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. The others run either through 9 o'clock tomorrow morning or noon tomorrow. And here's what we're looking at on the future track. By noon today, clouds increase through the morning. We're going to have snow just starting to make its way into the far southwestern corners of our area. By 3 o'clock, as kids start to get out of school, especially off to the south and to the west, we're going to start to run into that snow as it starts to fall across the region, and it will continue to overspread the area. So by our evening commute, most of us, if not all of us, will have some kind of snow falling. It could be heavy at times, and the bigger concern, while we are expecting some accumulations, which we'll get to in a moment, the other concern is, again, with those gusty south winds, the potential for blowing snow leading to reduced visibilities. Now, the winds aren't going to be gusting the entire time, so there will be moments where the snow comes down heavy, but the winds aren't a problem, and then the winds pick up, could reduce visibility. So you definitely want to keep that in mind for your evening commutes or whatever it is you may be doing this evening. Maybe tonight's a good night to stay home, or maybe if you have time before it starts to snow, pick up something you can cook and eat at the house. Okay, make it a little easier on yourself. By 10, snow across virtually the entire area, but look at these temperatures. Even by 10 o'clock tonight, these temperatures are warmer than where our highs have been the last several days. And so, again, I think this is going to be a wet snow on top of that. And, of course, a wet snow is good for snowballs for kids tomorrow because I have no doubt there will be school closings tomorrow. By 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're left with just a few lingering snow showers and flurries. As we get cold air back on the other side of this, winds will shift out of the north. We'll be mostly cloudy for most of Friday, which also means while it doesn't show up, some of these clouds could have just enough moisture to spit some flurries at us, but we're not looking at any additional major snow as we head through the day on Friday. It should all start to really wrap up early Friday morning. What are we looking at in terms of totals? So here's what the snow tracker is thinking. I think this one is the closest to being the most accurate, and I'm going to break down a little more on what we're looking at in terms of totals to what we're looking at for averages out there, because the snow tracker here tries to be as specific as it can. Like, again, 3.6 inches. It's trying to be as specific as it can, but I'm going to say we're going Nevada, Parsons, Independence, and here. This point and northwest, probably that 1 to 3 inch zone. From that same line down to, say, right around Neosho, Mount Vernon, just north of Grove, tracking right along I-44, we're probably in a 2 to 4 inch zone. And you get southeast of that, hence those winter storm warnings out there, we're looking at a 4 to 6 inch zone of snow. So we will keep a very close eye on this. The winter storm warnings, last night by the time I went to bed, they were not that far north. That low has lifted a little further north, hence those warnings have, and if any of that changes, we'll let you know as well. Right now, though, still quite cold, but better than where we have been. We're into the upper teens and low 20s, and we got a light south breeze, but it is enough for many of us. Greenfield, Stockton, Iola, feels like it's in the single digits out there, so still a bit on the cool side, and of course, those winds will pick up a little later today. Mostly cloudy through the morning, then eventually just cloudy. Temperatures 22 to start, 33 by 11 a.m. We are heading for highs today, which again will be upwards of 10, 12 degrees warmer than where we were yesterday. Still cold, but warmer, but nonetheless, as we go into about the mid-30s. And again, snow starts working in from west to east by noon. Now, it's just barely going to be kicking in by noon, but it'll overspread the area quickly through the afternoon and into the evening hours, and it will continue through the evening and into the overnight as well. So we'll continue with that light to moderate snowfall, and temperatures tonight falling back to where our highs have been here lately, back into the mid-20s, and winds will ease up. Later this evening, those winds won't be as big of a concern. So even though the snow will continue, the winds will become calm. We're not going to have as much of a concern about blowing snow. Now, this being a wet snow too, that's going to be the potential for a few more slick spots because that slushy stuff can freeze. It's a little harder to melt out there, so we'll keep an eye on that, and you want to keep an eye on that as you're traveling. Tomorrow, a little cooler, low 30s. Still, the winds will pick up once again, but this time out of the north, gusting to about 20. Will be cold Friday night, and then once we head into the weekend and next week, we are looking at temperatures still below normal, but much closer to normal where we have been before we see another system by next weekend. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning. If you're looking to eat healthier in the new year, you might want to switch to the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet topped the U.S. News and World Report's annual diet list for the 8th year in a row. The list was ranked by a panel of medical and nutrition experts who evaluated 38 different eating plans. Now, factors include nutritional completeness, health risks and benefits, long-term sustainability, and evidence-based effectiveness. The Mediterranean diet focuses on eating fruits and vegetables, grains, olive oil, and nuts, while cutting down on sweets, dairy, and red meat. We're into our second week of 2025, and with the holidays now behind us, some experts say they see an increase this time of year in families calling with concerns about an aging loved one. Mandy Gaither explains why and has more on what you can do if a senior needs help.
The fireworks have faded and a new year has begun. But if you're starting 2025 with concern over a senior in your life, you're not alone.
And you realize when you see them in person that maybe their clinical condition has deteriorated or declined and they may need more help in the home, or they may be having more issues than you were aware of.
Geriatrician Dr. Jennifer Woodward with Northwestern Medicine says because of that, there's often an increase in calls for senior care after the holidays. She says the first thing to do is have a conversation with your aging loved one and lay out concrete examples of your specific health and safety concerns.
I've noticed that you're not as steady when you're walking. You have a lot of steps in the house. I'm really concerned about you falling.
Woodward says to then go over different care options or things you can do to help. She says most seniors will be concerned about losing independence, so keep that in mind as you talk to them.
Focusing on you want them to stay independent. You want to help keep them in their home or keep them safe. Focusing more on what you can do to keep them doing as much and functioning as well as they can, as long as they can, but just bringing in some additional help.
If your senior needs more help than that, Woodward says to talk to their primary care doctor, who can connect them to geriatric care specialists. She also says a local agency on aging is a good resource to transition them to further care.
I often find a lot of my patients who are not doing well in their home environment really thrive once they move into an assisted living environment.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Dr. Woodward says some red flags that an aging senior may need extra care include if they're having trouble with their medications or they forget to pay their bills. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we have that alert day in place today. We've got winter weather alerts across the 4 states with snow on the way. Details when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, a local library rolls out a new delivery program for homebound residents.
And we have an alert day in place for today. Winter weather alerts out there, snow on the way. A look at that forecast to get you out the doors coming up.
Plus, a Girard teacher gets the award and surprise of a lifetime.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Thursday, January the 9th. It is an alert day here in the 4 states. And for the folks who work here, it's an alert day for a different reason. She came back. I think she got us sick. And since then, the Modern Major General song from Pirates of Penzance has been in my head. And I've been, oh my gosh, I haven't been able to get it out. And I only know the one line, and it won't leave my head. And I've been singing it for a day and a half now. I don't know why, but if there's anyone who can tell me how to get it out of my head, let me know, because I'm over it now, okay? But what we do have going on is the alert day 2 for the snow. All right, and thankfully the snow's keeping me occupied because we have decent amounts on the way. Not significant, we're not talking a blizzard, but still we'll have some impacts on travel this evening into tomorrow morning. Right now, though, look outside from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. The roads are clear. And like I said earlier, you might want to take a picture. Just kind of make a mental note of how things look, because by this time tomorrow morning, I guarantee you they will not look as pleasant as they do right now across the region. And quick look at the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line in Joplin. And again, roads looking good. We're doing all right. It is a bit on the cold side, though. In fact, we do have these winter weather advisories for most of the area. And in our southern counties, we do have winter storm warnings in McDonald, Berry, and Benton counties out there. So that's something else that we have got to keep an eye on. And there's a reason. These weren't here yesterday, but the reason they've come a little further north is, we talked about the path least taken, and Mother Nature typically finds a way to find it. She did. That low shifted just a little to the north, and just enough that we could see 4 to 6 inches, say, south of the I-44 corridor. From that zone to roughly Nevada back toward Parsons and Independence, that's a 2 to 4 inch zone here, and 1 to 3 inch zone if you go a little further northwest. And all of these, again, have different expiration times. On the Missouri side, that's where they run the latest. So Missouri also covers Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties. So from here east, they run through 6 p.m. tomorrow. Others run through 9 a.m. and some run through noon tomorrow as well. But either way you paint it, we've got inconvenient weather on the way. So by noon, just starting to work into the far southwestern fringes of our area. We head into the afternoon and into the commute times, both for school dismissal and for your drive home. That snow really does start to overspread the area. And the other concern, again, not so much with major accumulations, it's the fact that we could have some heavy snow at times, and with south winds gusting out there upwards of 25 miles an hour, that could occasionally lead to reduced visibility. So that's the main thing you want to keep in mind today if you are commuting, if you've got work, school, whatever the case may be. 21 in Joplin, 18 in Pittsburgh. So, yeah, it's another pretty cold start to the day, but it is better than where we were 24 hours ago. We got some upper teens and low 20s, and with that south breeze, even though it's not too bad right now, it does feel like it's 9 in Iola and Stockton, 8 in Greenfield. Otherwise, not having a major impact on temperatures, but does make it feel a little bit colder. Kids getting on the bus this morning. 21, mostly clear, south winds 5 to 10, and as I mentioned, those winds will increase this afternoon, gusting to 25 out of the south. That snow starts to work in, but take a look at the temperature, though, 34. Even though we've got a little more snow on the way than what we saw this weekend, we're going to be warmer today than where we have been the last several days. Mostly cloudy through the morning, clouds increasing, and then snow chances increasing as we head through the day. Highs today right around the mid-30s. We'll tell you how long this snow is going to last, what we're looking at tomorrow, and when we might see slightly warmer temperatures here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. The oldest woman in Jasper County turned 105 yesterday. Now, she made a grand entrance to her party on a red carpet. Her family and friends traveled from as far as California to be by her side at St. Luke's Nursing Center in Carthage for the big day. At the celebration, the mayor of Carthage declared January 8th Helen Hubbard Day. She says her secret to a long life is having a positive outlook and her faith.
God's looking after us all this time. And he's been pretty busy on me for 105 years.
Throughout her life, she worked as a teacher and a dietitian in the Army during World War II. She has 14 great-grandchildren. The Joplin Library rolls out a new community service. In partnership with Friends of the Library, it's launched a delivery program for homebound patrons called Traveling Titles. The goal of Traveling Titles, which will be offered within city limits, is to increase access to the library for people struggling with mobility.
So homebound delivery is something that libraries throughout the country offer, usually larger areas, and it was something that we've been wanting to bring to this area, but we weren't quite able to do it just ourselves, and thankfully the Friends of the Joplin Public Library stepped up and said they'd be happy to collaborate with us.
To join, patrons must be Joplin Public Library card holders and complete an application available on the Joplin Public Library's website.
Educator Award goes to Meredith Reed.
Well, that surprise look comes from Girard, Kansas native and choral teacher Meredith Reed. Now, Reed was awarded the Milken Educator Award yesterday at an all-school assembly at Girard High School in front of a crowd of cheering students and colleagues. Now, the Oscar of Teaching is awarded to exceptional educators for their dedication to excellence in education and leadership. For Reed, the real reward comes from working with her students.
Sweetness of the moment to have my choir there with me and all of my students there really means a lot to have them be a part of this day.
Reed's award marks the first ever Milken in Girard United School District 248 history. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. At least 13 people and dozens are injured in Ukraine after a Russian airstrike. Plus, President-elect Trump discusses plans for a massive U.S. territory expansion. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Well, topping World Watch, travelers from the U.S. and dozens of other countries will now have to pay a fee to visit the United Kingdom. Beginning on Wednesday, Americans will have to apply for and purchase an electronic travel authorization. The new digital registration is for visitors from countries where the UK does not ask for a visa to enter. Each member of a family must have an ETA, including babies and children. It will cost about $12.50 to apply, and it lasts for 2 years and is valid for multiple entries. Travelers can apply online through the UK government website. At least 13 people are dead and dozens more are injured in Ukraine after a Russian bomb attack. Local authorities are reporting that Russia targeted Zaporizhia with glide bombs Wednesday afternoon. At least 2 bombs struck residential buildings and debris hit a tram and a bus with passengers inside. The bodies of the dead and injured were found strewn across the road. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the number of casualties could increase. And that's a look at World Watch. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:42 and it is Thursday, and it is an alert day because we've got another round of wintry weather. This one, though, looks to bring us at least some slightly more meaningful snowfall, which I know the kids will certainly enjoy. Those of us who have to drive in it may not enjoy it as much, but it will still certainly look pretty. And we have winter weather advisories for the bulk of the area through at least tomorrow. And then we have winter storm warnings for McDonald, Berry, Benton counties in the southern portion of our area where heavier snow is expected. Now, of course, those winter storm warnings were not here yesterday evening. They were not there when I went to bed. We had the winter weather advisories. In fact, when I went to bed, the winter weather advisories stopped here. So, kind of get the idea. that low did track a little further north, and so that's why we've seen the spreading of the winter weather alerts across the region going further north. In fact, they stretch just south of Kansas City, out west toward Wichita, parts of southern Kansas, the bulk of the state of Oklahoma. I think the Panhandle is the only part of Oklahoma that's not got advisories, and of course off to our south and east, they stretch all the way up the I-44 corridor towards St. Louis, and then winter storm warnings for a good portion of the state of Arkansas. As we've talked about, we have 5 different National Weather Service offices that forecast for our area and issue advisories. And so when it comes to things like this, like a severe thunderstorm watch, that's issued by the Storm Prediction Center in Norman. So it can blanket an area and have the same expiration time across an entire region. When it comes to local alerts like these, each office issues their own at their own discretion and at their own expiration times. So we have a number of different expiration times. The further west you go, they expire a little earlier, closer toward about 9 a.m. tomorrow. Then you get into some of the northern areas, they start expiring at noon. And then as you head a little further east, they run through 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. And that includes at least 2 of the winter storm warnings. The one in Arkansas expires, believe it or not, at noon tomorrow. And the ones north of it expire at 6 p.m. because all these are from different offices. But one way or the other, we're looking at snow. We're going to talk about that snow and what we're looking at in terms of totals right now. So by noon, clouds have increased. They will increase through the morning. Winds will increase. They'll be out of the south, occasionally gusting upwards of 20, 25 miles an hour. And the snow just barely showing up on the future track in our area. But it doesn't take it long to start spreading north and east across the area. So now we've got snow. We're talking Anderson, Bentonville, Miami, Veneta, Coffeyville, Parsons, Chanute, Yates Center, Fredonia by 3 o'clock. And that's a key point because I know a lot of schools, you're getting out about 3, and we're going to be sending these buses home. So in all honesty, because if you've lived here long enough, I've lived here long enough, I do know, especially in some of the more rural areas, schools have a tendency to dismiss early on days like this. So you want to pay very close attention to your local school district to see what their plans are as we head into the afternoon, if they decide to dismiss early or not, especially out in the west where that snow is going to be working in right as dismissal time comes up. Now it'll continue to spread to the east, and by 5 o'clock, so we're getting into our evening commute, going home from work, wherever it is you may be, maybe heading out to get dinner, snow over across the entire region. The bigger concern initially is going to be the chance for isolated blowing snow, because the winds won't be blowing out of the south at 25 miles an hour all day, but when we get those gusts, it could lead to temporarily reduced visibilities with some of the heavier snow. So you want to keep that in mind. Maybe stay home if you can this evening, order dinner, maybe have it delivered, or pick something up early. Temperatures, though, still better tonight than where we have been for the last few days for highs. We go to 10 o'clock, snow again continuing across the entire region. You may get pauses here and there, or it may lessen up and be some light flurries before some heavier pockets of snow begin to work in. This will continue overnight, but become a bit more scattered, and by tomorrow morning, about a little less than 24 hours from now, we'll be stuck with some light snow showers and flurries across the area as we start tomorrow, but the bulk of the snow is going to start wrapping up tomorrow morning. Now, since we're going to be mostly cloudy through the day, and we're going to have winds shifting out of the north and northwest, they'll be gusting as well, upwards of 20. We could still get some flurries because there could be enough moisture left over in the clouds that we'll get flurries. It won't show up on the future track, won't even show up on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, but don't be surprised if it spits a little snow as we head into the afternoon. But any type of major accumulating snow or any kind of snow that will actually do anything will be long gone by the afternoon. Mostly cloudy through most of Friday before skies will start to clear as we head into Saturday. So this snow tracker, I think, is the one that's got it as close to accurate as possible. Now, it likes to be very precise. That's why you see numbers like 3.7 inches. Look, that's going to be really interesting if it actually hits that amount. But we can give you the rough estimates here on what we are looking at. So again, I think the same points that we were looking at yesterday. Nevada, south of Fort Scott to Parsons, Independence, into Chautauqua County. This zone and northwest, we're looking at 1 to 3 inches of snow. Now you get from that same zone down to right about, say, Neosho, Mount Vernon, Veneta, right along the I-44 corridor, probably a zone of 2 to 4 inches. And then you head southeast of that, especially into the winter storm warning counties, that's where we're looking at the possibility of about 4 to 6 inches of snow. So that's something, again, we want to keep an eye on. And I have no doubt there will very likely be a number of school closings tomorrow, especially in the southern half of our area where some of that heavier snow is expected. It is pretty cold again this morning. We mentioned it'd be cold, but not as cold. It's a few degrees warmer than where we have been the last few mornings, but still upper teens, low 20s. South wind's not too terrible yet, but they are still giving us a bit of a nip to the air. We've got some single-digit wind chills, Greenfield and Iola. The rest of us kind of feels like it's in the teens. And then, of course, the winds will increase as we head into the afternoon. 22 to start the day, mostly cloudy skies, cloudy by 11 ahead of that snow rolling in. 33, though. So, again, our temperatures today better than where we have been the last several days. We're looking at highs right around the mid-30s. We'll have that snow start to work in. South winds 5 to 15 with those occasional gusts upwards of 25. Now, the winds will actually ease up as we head into the evening. They'll be calm overnight, which is great. Last thing we need is blowing snow at night, especially for those, again, who you don't have a choice. You've got to be out. We're going to fall back right around the mid-20s tonight. Tomorrow, a little colder. We're going to be low 30s. We'll have that north wind gusting on us. Back to the teens Friday night. Temperatures warming up a bit. Not quite average, but the closest we've been in a while. And then we're keeping our eye on yet another system as we head into next weekend with some rain and additional snow chances. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this.
A Nevada photographer who specializes in quinceañeras is working to make sure finances don't stand in the way of the celebration. As Carlos Salinas reports, the photographer has donated dozens of dresses to girls around Las Vegas.
In Hispanic culture, a quinceañera marks a young girl's transition into womanhood. For some families, the cost can be a barrier to celebrating this milestone. The high cost of dresses, venues, and photos can make this celebration seem impossible. Valley local Ciane Lopez took to social media to announce she's giving away dozens of quinceañera dresses. Over the course of a few days, Lopez donated over 70 dresses to quinceañeras across the valley, ensuring that these girls get to feel special on their big day.
So there's no catch. I did get a lot of questions. It's like you just come in, you try on the dresses, and you take it if you like it.
As a quinceañera photographer, Lopez has an abundance of dresses in her studio. She rents them to girls who couldn't have a party but wanted a picture in a traditional gown. These dresses run anywhere from $500 to $2,500. Despite this, every year Lopez gives away dozens of dresses to make a 15-year-old's dreams come true.
So if I'm able to do this for many girls, it's perfect for me. That for me, I can go to sleep at night knowing that someone was able to help these girls get their dreams come true.
Among the recipients this year was Erica Gutierrez, who's counting the days until her big day. Her mom, Andrea Gutierrez, tells us the giveaway was a huge blessing for her family.
I'm blessed, and it is a miracle to have seen that post. And we were able to get a dress.
As a single mom, Andrea tells us having this moment with her daughter hasn't been easy. But not worrying about having to buy a dress has been a huge weight off her shoulders.
We're still going to be able to have some kind of quinceañera for her. It might not be the most expensive, but I know that she's going to be grateful just to have something, because for us women, having a quinceañera is just, it's everything.
Thanks to this giveaway, over 70 girls like Erica were able to take home the dress of their dreams. For Lopez, this is about more than money. She tells us she could have sold these dresses for a profit, but that's not what she's about. She remembers how special she felt all those years ago on her quinceañera, and all she wants is for those girls to shine the way she did too.
It's certainly an incredible gift. Stick around, we'll be right back. The United Kingdom's largest zoo has kicked off its annual animal count of their more than 10,000 animals. The ZSL Whipsnade Zoo conducted its New Year's stock take on Tuesday. Mammals, birds, reptiles, and invertebrates from around 245 species were counted. Zookeepers use a variety of methods to tally the animals, such as taking photos of the aquarium tanks to count fish. The final tally is shared with zoos and aquariums around the world and helps global conservation, tracking, and efforts. Berlin Zoo's twin panda cubs are now leaving their crib. Lenny and Lottie are turning 5 months old and are now big enough for a more spacious and stimulating environment. Zoo officials say they now have ample space to crawl, climb, and explore, all under the watchful eye of their 11-year-old mother, Meng Meng. The twins spend most of their day in the playroom. At night, they return to their cozy crawling box to rest, and the zoo staff hopes this transition will help with healthy development as the pandas continue to grow and thrive.
All right, remember we have an alert day today. We have winter weather advisories for most of the area. McDonald, Berry, Benton counties winter storm warnings. Snowfall will be working in by this afternoon. Through the morning, cold, 22 to start, 33 by 11 a.m. Highs today a bit better than where we have been, around the mid-30s. Snow starts rolling in after 12 p.m. and starts overspreading the area as we head into the afternoon and evening. South winds occasionally gusting to 25 miles an hour. Into the evening we go. Winds will thankfully ease up, so the concerns for blowing snow leading to some reduced visibilities will also ease up, but the snow continues as we go into the late evening and overnight hours, back down to about the mid-20s with calm winds. We'll have a few light snow showers, maybe some flurries in the first half of our Friday, and then we'll be mostly cloudy, skies slowly clearing, about the low 30s. Guys, continue to clear Saturday. We're warmer, not quite average, but warmer, 40. We hold on to pretty decent temperatures, then going above average by next Thursday with some sunshine. Friday as well, around 50. And we have another system we're going to keep a close eye on. We're still way far away from this, but we're watching rain and maybe some additional snow chances by next weekend. Due to coverage of Jimmy Carter, we will not be continuing here at 6 a.m. We will be switching over to CBS News coverage, and we'll catch you at 7 a.m. over on Fox 14 for the KOAM Morning News over there. Until then, be safe and have a fantastic rest of your day.